Well, hello there. I've got a internet relay site here that I built. Our home is down that hill there. You can see the storage building in the background, perhaps. And down in that hole, you can see the mountain up behind us, and we're up on top of a hill right here. We can't get any internet, so the only option available to us was phone internet, which was expensive and didn't work very well. Sometimes we don't get a phone reception down where our house is. So I called an internet provider to come out and give us a survey, and to see if we could connect to a radio tower. So I'm going to turn here, and you see that mountain over the top of that house. That's a few miles away there. There's an internet tower on top of that mountain. I don't think you'll probably be able to pick it out in the video, but it's actually right on the very top there. If it was nighttime, you'd be able to see a red blinking light. So he was able to locate the signal right here where we are, but further down, no signal. So he said, "I'm sorry, we can't provide you with any internet." So I got to thinking about it, and the way that their tower works is that they have an office, and they have an iFiber connection, and then they have a radio tower above the office, and that bounces to another radio tower, which bounces to this radio tower. So I thought, well, why can't it bounce to my own radio tower? So I came up with my own little remote relay. So that's what I'm going to show you here, is my little homemade relay. So I've got a battery box here I made. If you see on the inside, you see that it's made from old construction signs. There was a construction company that went out of business, and I went and cleaned up some of the stuff, and I got these boards, which are 3/4 inch signs made from outdoor plywood. So expensive plywood, and it was free. So I made this box, and inside this box, if you look here, you can see I've got two T105 6-volt golf cart batteries, and I've got them wired together. So what that means is I've got the negative of one, or the negative of one going to the positive of the next one. So I've got a negative and a positive that I'm connecting to. That's giving me a 12-volt battery. That's connected to a charge controller here, and the charge controller, it has a solar panels, which I'll show you in a minute, and the solar panels bring the electricity in, and then the charge controller charges the batteries. And when the batteries drop below, I believe it's 10 volts, which is too low. It doesn't need to be that low. I wish there was a better solution. I would prefer it not drop below 12 volts. But if it drops down to 10 volts, then it cuts off the power to it until it rises above that. So then it has a load side of this charger that sends it to the load. So it's got a cutoff where it can cut off the load. It sends it to the load, which is this PoE injector. That's a power over Ethernet injector. So what that's doing is that it's converting this, whatever the voltage is here, which is 10 to 14.4 on the high volts. So it's converting that to, I believe it's 20 volts is what the antennas take. So it injects that into the Ethernet cable, which is coming out right here, and it goes around through here, and then that goes over to the antenna in the background over here. So we'll walk over here, and you can see this is a flat antenna, and it's coming into here, and then it comes out of there, and it comes back around and comes up to this antenna here. And this antenna is pointed to the tower that's up on top of that mountain a few miles away. So This antenna here is receiving its signal from the larger antenna. And this antenna is beaming the internet connection down to that beige storage building you see in the background, which is, that's about, I think it's about 800 feet away to that storage building. So this is forming a bridge, a Wi-Fi bridge, and it beams over there, and then I have an Ethernet cable running from that antenna into my trailer that I live in, and that's solar powered as well. So let's see how this works here. Now, I put in the solar panels this winter. This part of the relay, this part right here, I put that in several years ago, but at first it was just generator powered. So the batteries will power it for about 5 days before they go dead. And I have a Honda 2000 generator. It's an old one that I put in 1 gallon of gasoline. I've got a NOCO Genius charger to G7200, which is 7.2 amps, and that charges the batteries. So it automatically regulates it, automatically cuts off when it's done. So what I would do is I would crank the generator and let it run overnight and run out the 1 gallon of gasoline, and then I would have 5 days of internet before I had to charge it again. Now I have solar panels, so the only time that I run this generator is when the sun hasn't shone for several days. So the last time I ran this generator, right now I think it's April the 10th, and the last time I ran this generator was sometime in February, where we had a string of cloudy days back to back with no solar. So I'll show you the solar setup. Now I've just got a 10 gauge extension cord that the power is running through, and since I put these solar panels in after the ground froze, I don't have my conduit buried yet. My ground's not quite thawed out where I could bury it even right now. So here we've got a 1.25 inch conduit, electrical conduit. So we'll walk down this, and I'll show you the solar panels. So I had to put the solar panels over 100 feet away because there's no sun where the internet relay is. So I had to put it out here to where I have some sun. Now I only have sun from there to right there, and you can see I've got these trees that's blocking the afternoon sun, so it's not an ideal spot, but I didn't have too much of a choice on that. So we'll walk around here and I'll show you the setup I have. So this is two 30-watt panels. These panels were made in 1979. I bought them from a friend's estate, Mike Ehler. That's Oehler he wrote the book, the $50 and Up Underground House book, and the $50 and Up Underground Greenhouse book. Highly recommend reading those books. They're very good books. But he put these panels up in 1979, and they were still attached to the tree 2 years ago, whenever I went up to his house and took them down after he passed away. So this mount here, I made this from a Pratt & Whitney turbine engine stand. So an aircraft engine. So this right here was formerly a crate, or a stand that held a $750,000 Pratt & Whitney airplane engine. So I got it for free from work, where I was working at the time. So all of this is built from crate. So this is a crate, that's a crate there, and then the two legs are each from a crate. That's the reason why you see these oddball pieces sticking out here. And as you can see on the ground here, there's a lot of rocks. So as I was driving these in, I was hitting a lot of rocks. So they went every which way. I didn't worry about that too much. It's nice and stable. So I made a hinge here for them. So you can see this hinge here and the hinge over here. So I made this hinge so I can tilt it. And then I've got this piece here, and I've got these quick releases. These quick releases are what held the aircraft engine into the crate. So you have to have three positions for the panels. You got to have one for the winter time, and that's virtually standing straight up. It's you want it at 90 degrees to the sun. So in the winter time, was December the 21st, I believe, is the winter solstice. I can't remember exactly, but you stand it up, and then in March you lay it back to the angle it's at here, and then in June you lay it back even further because the sun is going higher and higher in the sky. So this brace here for the winter time, this is connected here, and this one is connected there, which is standing it further up. And then for the summertime, I disconnect both of these, and I take it and I move it back to where this bottom one is here, and this top one is right up here. See up on, you see that one up there? So the panels are really laid back for the sun that's up high in the sky, and that gets you more power. Now these panels here, you can look at the wiring on the back. I've got them wired in parallel, so there's the negatives are wired together and the positives are wired together, and these are 12-volt panels. So, and then I just have everything bolted in place here. I had some paint that I got for free from somebody that was moving, and they were getting rid of a bunch of paint they had, so it's an oddball color, but it kind of blends in with the surroundings, so it works. So that's the setup I've got, and with these, they do the job. Now, if I had it to do over again, one thing I would do differently is I would not have these two panels here. I would have a 250 to 330 watt panel, the high voltage panels. I would have one of those because they can put out a lot more juice. And the other thing is that I would use a Mppt controller, which is a multi-power point tracking controller, and that controller would allow me, even on a cloudy day, to put more juice into the battery. These, when it's cloudy, they don't put out hardly anything at all. But the big solar panel with the Mppt technology, it would allow me to charge my battery sufficiently even when we have overcast days. So I would cut my generator use down to almost nothing. But that panel is $250 to $300 to buy just one panel, and the charge controller would probably be another $70. So that is a significant amount, and that's the reason why I don't have it right now. But in the future, that's what I will be going to. So that's my setup. Hope you like it, and I'll talk to you next time. There was a couple of things I forgot to put in this video. One is, this is a 30 amp fuse that I use for the power coming in. So I've got it on my positive side where it's coming in and then going into the charge controller. And then the other thing that I have is I have a low voltage meter that I wired in. So right now you can see it's 11.8 volts is what my voltage is. So we'll take and I got the generator running. So you can see here I've got the battery charger on, and it'll show here in a second that what the percentage charge is, so it's 25% down really low. So we'll look at this voltmeter again. We've jumped up to 11.9 now, and it'll keep on climbing as that charger kicks in and starts charging. But I'll leave that running overnight, and then I probably won't have to run it again for quite a while. Maybe not until, so we're in April, I may not have to run it again until sometime in the fall or the winter, unless I get those big panels.